AEW releases Fenix and a WWE signing is imminent. Plus, a major change to a WrestleMania title match, and CM Punk looks to be added to the John Cena heel turn storyline. It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. It's been a long time coming, but it looks as if Fenix is flying free. It was reported over the weekend that he disappeared from AEW's website.
Quelle surprise, as the French might say.
They might say that as well. And of course, him disappearing from the website got everybody talking, so Fightful did some digging.
Yeah, they're saying it was expected that Fenix could end up having months added to his AEW deal due to injury time, but Fenix is now gone from the company and eligible to sign anywhere. We're told he's expected to sign with WWE imminently, and fanatics have already begun preparing merchandise for him, with creative coming up with ideas.
Now, there's a great opportunity there, as we saw on Raw, with Chad Gable currently looking for the secrets of lucha.
The dark arts of lucha libre.
Is this where we bring him in?
Do you reckon they bring him in as a heel against Penta, potentially?
Oh.
Because the dark, you'd assume Penta is the get-up, and it's quite dark and gnarly, but, you know, he's the light arts of lucha libre. He's a nice guy far.
He's a sweet boy. But potentially bringing him in that way, and that'd be a nice way of doing it. Because I think the original plan was to bring in the Lucha Bros at the same time.
Yep.
That didn't end up panning out. It's a long and drawn-out situation between AEW and the Lucha Brothers. Last year reported that they were both WWE bound. That turned out not to initially be the case, but it led to both being taken off TV and essentially put on gardening leave with AEW. Penta's ran out before Fenix's, though, didn't it?
It did, yes. And Fightful also reports there are several allegations from Fenix about inhumane treatment in AEW that were denied privately but ignored publicly. According to sources in AEW close to Fightful, Fenix is likely to have agreed a non-disparagement deal in order to get out of his contract early. So don't you say naughty things about our company.
I think it does explain maybe Penta's got a similar thing, because I think Penta has avoided any conversations about AEW in interviews and in junkets and stuff. And maybe it's a similar thing. We're going, look, okay, we'll let you go, but just don't slag us off.
Yeah.
Fightful adds, those that we spoke to in WWE said they expect him there, this being Fenix, and it was a foregone conclusion that he'd end up in the company. He'll likely join the main roster, of course, with his brother Penta.
The other way they could go, obviously, is with the New Day and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio could bring in some Lucha boys, a new Lucha boy, and align himself with Penta. As long as they don't call Penta he's going to be the new Rey Mysterio, which is always the death nail for anyone who gets that bestowed upon them.
Feels like it's a death knell, isn't it? It always is. An interesting one to watch and see how this one plays out, but it looks as if Fenix is WWE bound, according to Fightful Select and their sources, imminently. We have had a change immediately to a WrestleMania title match. This came out of left field for me, Ross. And I can tell by your reaction, it came out of left field for you too.
I woke up this morning, Tom, and
and
I put on my shoes. And I flicked on YouTube.
Flicked on the YouTube.
And my ass fell out my pajamas because Io Sky has defeated Rhea Ripley to become the women's champion this close to WrestleMania, Tom.
It's awful news. Good morning, Mother.
Not the mother.
Sorry about that, Mother. That's Bianca Belair heading ringside to seemingly cheer on Io Sky and sort of scout competition. Led to Rhea being distracted and going, hey, Bianca, see you at WrestleMania. And that avalanche riptide turned into a lovely Frankensteiner and an over the moon salt. And Io Sky was over the moon.
Yeah, you would assume with the amount of, because there was a little bit before that where Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair sort of come face to face, and referee Jessica Carr's like, no, you go that way. You go. Proper hulked up, so she did to big Jess Carr. Up the Jess Carr.
Up the Jess Carr.
So you would assume just with the interactions there that somehow, someway, Rhea Ripley's going to get back into this thing to make it a triple threat at WrestleMania.
Expect more twists and turns on the road to WrestleMania. That's what Brian Alvarez says on Wrestling Observer Radio. Whilst that is a given, it is interesting that they've made a point to say that we are 6 weeks out from WrestleMania, and I think there's a lot of time to move and shake. As you say, I think a triple threat compromise seems to be a very likely way that we will go.
Yeah, and for going the not obvious way, because you would assume it's a foregone conclusion, Io Sky, or maybe even ends in a double DQ, just to set up a triple threat that way, if that end goal is the triple threat. Fair play for them going for the weird way.
Yeah, sometimes it's fun to take the scenic routes. We're taking the direct route for CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Raw opened last night with Punk cutting a scathing promo, more on that in a bit, but then it descended into a brawl between he and Seth Rollins, and it was announced that they will meet in in a steel cage match next week on Raw.
But that's not at WrestleMania either. This is on Raw before WrestleMania. So what does that mean for WrestleMania itself? Where do you go, Tom, from a steel cage?
What are the ramifications for WrestleMania if that doesn't happen? Well, for one, I love a steel cage match. They are off. They're rarely used. We had one in NXT recently, which was a rarity. I do love a steel cage. I think in this time where we have so many wild and woolly gimmick matches, I feel like sometimes the steel cage match gets forgotten about.
Yeah, after the Chamber, especially the way Punk was eliminated, I thought WrestleMania, Rollins and Punk was a foregone conclusion. But once again, they've gone off the beaten track again. But could this hint at something else? Maybe for CM Punk. We'll get to that later on in the video.
Also, next week on Raw, we're going to see AJ Styles call out Logan Paul. I think that's a WrestleMania match.
I don't know what that reaction was. Oh, yes.
We've got 2 nights of Mania. I think a AJ Styles Paul match could be fun, but we'll get a face-to-face confrontation between those two. Jey Uso's facing Grayson Waller. A-Town Down Under beat up Jey Uso when he came out to save Alpha Academy from Gunter. This isn't feeling like a world title feud.
Yeah.
Only, and I know, and I say it with love, only with the participants currently involved. Gunter, yeah. Jey Uso, yeah. A-Town Down Under, Alpha Academy.
Hey, you
world title.
You watch the reactions Otis gets there, Tom. Last week it was, or the week before, I think it was last week, the reaction Otis got when he stood up to Gunther. That's the WrestleMania match I want to see.
Do you know what? If you're going to base it on that, then yeah, give us Otis versus Gunter at Mania for the world.
Imagine that at WrestleMania, Tom.
I mean, I ain't mad at it. But back to CM Punk, who before that brawl with Seth Rollins had some spicy things to say towards The Rock and John Cena.
This was absolutely fantastic. Take time out your day to go and watch this CM Punk promo where he calls The Rock a bald fraud, and he calls the Goosebumps thing, that old malarkey, bull poo. The crowd, when he says that, especially just go, yeah, go on, Phil, you can do it, say some more words. And he does so, doesn't he, Tom?
He does. He says CM Punk has never been so delusional to wear a fake title and call himself the People's Champion. Punk then called out Cena for selling his soul, declaring everybody can now see what I've seen you are all along, that you've been selling these people and all these kids bull poo. He declares that he will see Rock and John Cena down the road, and he says when he gets his hands on them, you'll make a wish I never did. Now, interesting the fact that there's a few pieces of the puzzle you can put in place here that suggest that there's some movement afoot. So obviously CM Punk and Seth Rollins are having their cage match next week. Mm-hmm. This is a match that we thought we'd see at WrestleMania. Like how we thought we would see way back in the day, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa Bloodline rules at WrestleMania. We got that at Raw's Netflix debut. We're getting the cage match between Rollins and Punk next week. And also it was revealed last night that CM Punk has had his travel schedule changed. He was going to do the Raw taping in Glasgow and the Raw taping in London. He's now doing the SmackDown taping in Italy and the SmackDown taping in London.
And who's on SmackDown, I hear you ask, Tom?
Tiffany Stratton.
Cody Rhodes.
Oh, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, and adjacently The Rock, and adjacently John Cena. So this would suggest to me that they're going to somehow wangle CM Punk into this Rhodes, Rock, Cena thing.
He's been very anti The Rock there, CM Punk in his promo last night. Is there a chance he was so anti-Rock that, when The Rock held up 2 fingers signifying, because he held up 3 at Bad Blood, then it was 2 at the Chamber at the weekend there. Could it be him? Could he be that one, the second one? And there's one more to go, which is Ethan Page, because he did that with his cheek. He did.
He loves Ethan Page as The Rock. He does. And it was something like Jack pitched this on 9 Pitches, the idea of CM Punk being the corporate.
All three of us did it with staggering scenes.
All did it with staggering, and it was so. Whether there's something amiss there, it almost feels like they're setting up for a template of last year, where potentially we have this mega team of Rock and Cena versus Punk and Rhodes on night 1, and then we have Cody Rhodes and John Cena on night 2. But I don't know whether they make it so blatant that they run that back again. But to me, it feels like one way or another, whether Punk's involved in that mix or not, it feels like Cena's about to break Ric Flair's record.
Oh, I think after you do that turn, Cena can't not win. You don't do that turn and not have Cena go on and be an arsehole for a few months with the belt.
You have to
have it. It's got to be done.
It's got to be done. And with Punk involved, it's going to be an intriguing time ahead. Is the John Cena heel turn one of the greatest of all time, or is it the greatest of all time?
I would put it as the greatest, Tom, if you're going to ask me right now.
Well, I'm asking you right now, but we're also going to, a little bit later on the channel today, compare and contrast John Cena's heel turn with some of the most iconic heel turns across the pantheon of wrestling history, and ask the question whether this truly is the greatest of all time. Any heel turns that you love the best, maybe comment down below. They might pop up in the video. And for the very latest wrestling news at any time, check out cultaholic.com. And later today, I remembered it was Tuesday.
4 p.m. GMT. It's still GMT, even though it's quite nice and mild outside.
It's lovely and mild outside.
Lovely
We are fast approaching British summertime, but for now, it is nearly British Ross time.
It's Ross o'clock, everybody. Yes, 4 o'clock GMT. I'll be on the Holden Give YouTube channel streaming some Sunderland AFC EAFC 2-5 career mode.
And for the very latest wrestling news at any time, as I said, you can check out cultaholic.com. Do it again. Why not? Stay safe. Bye. Love you. Bye, Sunderland.